Peace and power, peace and power. I thank the universal truth and the absolute laws of nature for guiding me, protecting me, and giving me the strength to endure the imperfect. I shall attack with vigor, making progressive moves. A divine mind knows, a divine mind shows. All things work in divine order. All things work in divine order. All things work in divine order. Peace and power to the people of the struggle. Salute, salute, salute. As you come on in, know that this is a safe space. Know that this is a space for learning and getting learned up. Know that this is a space for educating and being educated. Know that this is a space of love. This is a space of questions, of answers, of comments, of dialogues. Know that this is a space where we seek solutions and a true path towards liberation. As my classroom assistants, come on in. Please make sure all contact info is in the chat for the duration of class. Please make sure all funding info is in the chat for the duration of class, and encourage funding this war effort. If anyone, and I mean anyone, is in need of anger management or believe that they or someone they love is in need of anger management, please book an assessment. If you are already under my fold, under my care, get your assessments in. Get your sessions in. And should you really and truly believe you don't need it, damn it, support someone else. Because they may need it and don't have it. Okay? If you or anyone you know are in a domestic violence situation, intimate partner violence, any type of situation where you are in close proximity, please book an assessment to find out the key basic elements of what it means to be in that type of situation. Find out the strategies that could help you get up out of that situation, because the life you save may be your own. Excuse me. Now, let's get to business. Let's get to the business of getting to it. Y'all all know where I'm about to go. Shouting out. William Extra, for some reason, was #1 in class today. We see you, Big Will. Philip Boone, what's going on? Sean, who's up in the spot. Strictly Game the Brand. See, Blaze, what's going on with you? Ninth, Power. Woo! Ninth is on time and ready. He not playing. Rick Gatlin, Yvette. TT Santiago. Is in the spot. Sham, Allah. Peace and power. Peace and power. Coach, you get a 55. Yeah. Starting up, hey, Coaster. Zone 846. Sierra, double X. Double fives. Sierra get 55. Double X, Sierra. Yeah. You get 2 5s. 55s. Lovely lady. George Johnson. Stephanie T. checking in before work. Don't get fired messing with us, but you get a 55. Yeah, we appreciate you picking your head in. You get a 55. Where was you at yesterday? Yeah, let's get it started. Let's get it popping. For some reason, on a Friday afternoon, class is light. And I knew it was going to be because I didn't see anybody waiting. But that's okay, because this class is an important one. Yeah. Because we have to continuously build on what transpired this week and some new information about one of the cases that happened a while ago. We didn't build on it in class. We mentioned it because we always mention situations where a gun was used, because you know that was my line of work, my mission at one time, right? Working with different city agencies to curb unnecessary gun violence. So you know I keep my ear to the street when any reports of guns is going off. So this case came through. And we mentioned it in class. Like, y'all know, all that what they call in the crisis management system, that's something that we started decade and a half ago with, at the time, Operation Snug, Operation Ceasefire. Then it transitioned to cure violence. Now it's crisis management system and all that. But you know, yes, I was one of the first boots on the ground, grassroots organization working at that capacity. So anything that has to do with gun violence, anything that has to do with it, again, when you're a credible messenger because you've been on both sides of it, I keep my ear to the street. Okay? So we have to continuously build on what transpired and what has now become national news and international news even, because of how triggering, and now that the video has been, globally viral, the father and son being murdered in Flatbush, Brooklyn by a neighbor because of an ongoing dispute over noise, right? So it is consistent. I'm hearing people talk about it in the gym. I'm hearing people talk about it in the streets and in the schools. And of course, you know, me working in it. Of course, family has been reaching out from out of town. And even my dad, my pops, like, son, I watched your video, man. It's like, are you safe in that community? Are you safe out there? And I'm like, I'm always safe. I preach security and safety. Okay? So, you know, I'm good. But of course, right? It has been very triggering for a lot of people. They still can't wrap their head around it because they've seen themselves in that situation and had to deal with unruly neighbors, or had, you know, people believe that they themselves were unruly, and in all reality, they didn't see themselves in that spot. So we're going to have this as a continuous build. I see going into, you know, weeks to come, right? And you're right, Sarah. Very, very avoidable. Very avoidable. So we're going to build on that. We're going to continue our build on that, right? But there's another case that happened a couple of weeks ago. Matter of fact, it happened in September, and now it is on our local news because they have formally arrested and charged an individual for it. And again, this is a case that is dear to me because of the circumstances around it. and we'll get into it right now. Again, this is an anger management based conversation, okay? Because as the hip hop anger management specialist, I have to get people in that space so they can understand themselves, understand the information that we give here, understand how to filter specific information once we are triggered by conventional broadcast news and what we are allowing ourselves to intake on social media. We have to understand ourselves so we are equipped with it, because again, I can only do it in this space. And it's very taxing to continuously do it. Again, with limited support, with limited outreach. It's difficult to do, but I gotta do it. I don't want it to come off redundant, but a lot of people have unchecked rage. And when rage is unchecked, the casualties and the consequences are severe. And once we do these things, it can't be undone. There's no coming back. And I'm not even talking about right now at the most highest and severe levels. I'm talking about some of the minimal things that we do when we are angry, when we're triggered, when we are raging. Some of the most minimal acts can have some dire consequences. So we have to be more aware of ourselves and how we move, how we perceive the world, how the world perceives us. Okay? So this case I'm talking about happened in September. There was a case that came across our local news where a woman, her partner, and a dog was brutally shot. Right? Taken out of here. Off the grid. And people were like, well, damn. Whoever did this also bodied the dog too? Salute. Hey, murder gang. Everybody, 56 in the building, please give a shout out, a born day shout out, Steph. All that murder gang, Steph, is his born day, the young man, the youngin'. Done reached a milestone, so salute to the youngin'. And much love, because he's an avid supporter and listener. And I love my youngins. Love my youngins. Okay? So yeah, you have a very blessed born day while you here. Okay? So now this case, again, a woman, a partner, and the dog was pushed. Okay? Yeah, y'all keep giving them. You keep giving them. That's Steph. Murder gang. Solar return. Born day. And he has to appreciate that. Every time somebody has a born day, you got to appreciate the growth of the past year, because you have grown. No one remains stagnant. Okay? Nobody's stagnant. Every minute, I keep telling y'all, every minute that passes, we have the potential to be greater. And every minute we build and do something progressive, we are greater. So every born day, acknowledge yourselves and acknowledge your accomplishments of the time that just passed over that current year. Okay? So now listen up. I don't like dogs. I'm going to keep it a buck. I don't. They're a trigger for me. I've witnessed dogs bite up on kids. I've seen other news articles where they have bitten and eaten and just, destroyed newborns. I've been attacked. I don't like them. I believe that as people who are impoverished, we have no reason to be spending money to keep them things up and alive, and it's a beast, and keeping them as pets when you don't have enough to pay your rent. When we have to make a decision sometimes, dog food or clothes for the kids. That should never be a decision. And if you are in a position where you can afford, okay, do you. We're not in your pocket. But us as a people definitely can't afford. We should be at war, and every nickel that we have should be funding war efforts, should be funding education, should be funding our pulling up out of these systems. So damn it, I couldn't care less about Spot, Fido, Brownie, Cuddles, whatever the hell y'all want to call them. I don't like them. If you're in your crib and you got them, I'm not coming to the crib. I don't like them. That's just me personally. No love lost. I don't mess with them. I don't. Okay? And in a belief system that I studied under communism, there was a theory that is a part of a person wanting dominance and control over something because they don't have dominance and control over their conditions, their situations. You understand? So you want to dominate something. So that's what you do. You have pets. They don't play that in China and different communists. What are you doing? Right? This is a theory. Like, you want to own something because you've been owned. But I don't like them shits. I don't. So here we have this case that's coming out of Washington Heights. And I'm using as a source ABC News. Police have arrested a 31-year-old man in connection to a fatal shooting back in September that claimed the lives of a man, woman, and dog in Manhattan. Lenu Moore was identified as a suspect in the grim incident that took place on September 29th and arrested on charges of murder, criminal possession of a weapon, aggravated criminal contempt, and aggravated cruelty to animals. Okay? Police say on that evening, a man dressed in all black opened fire on two people near 165th Street in Washington Heights, the victims of which was a court worker named Jackie Bellini, were taken to Harlem Hospital where they were pronounced deceased. Their dog, a pit bull, was pronounced deceased on the scene. According to officials, Bellini and Moore had ongoing problems for months over her pit bulls. And when you see the perp walk, he's a rather large 31-year-old man. Even though he's in cuffs, I don't want to make any assumptions, but he look a little sweet and troubled and disturbed. So from reading this, ongoing problems for months means that there should have been some type of mediation. But he was so enraged, and there's film of what they believe is the ultimate altercation that, that ended with these people and this animal losing their life. And now him at 31 years old. Because even if they don't rock him in court for this court worker and the dude, they damn sure going to rock him for that dog, which is another reason why I can't stand. I've seen people get years for harming something that they eat in Asia. They eat dogs over there. But here, you could do life in jail for harming an animal because they put a damn police shield on it, a vest. So I damn sure don't like them. And why they say it's man's best friend? Because it's the white man's best friend, Cookie. Because they were trained to bite up, eat up slaves, to catch slaves, all that. So yeah, the Romans used it, all that. Yeah. They are part of the fixture of white supremacy. They're a tool all throughout our time here. Yeah. That's what they use. So, of course, they're man's best friend. They don't consider you a man. So they ain't never been your best friend. Okay, Poopsie, you think I'm playing? You understand what the Dred Scott case was, right? That our people were considered 3/5 of a man. So he ain't my best friend. I was considered 3/5 of a man. Okay? So it ain't my best friend. That's their best friend. That's who they had around the plantations. That's who they use around the prisons. Bloodhounds and all type of shit. That's who they use in the civil rights era. German shepherds, Dobermans and all that. That's what they use as a tool to keep the oppressed oppressed. Come on, I don't, nah. Ain't no friend of mine at all. I don't mess with him. So again, here's a young man at 31 years old who had the belief system that since he was in a consistent dispute with his neighbor over a dog, and look, her pit bulls, because she has more than one, but in that space, he allegedly killed a woman. Okay? A woman lost her life over dogs. Whether they were barking or not, whether they attacked him or not, whether he felt, she lost her life because of her love for dogs. That makes sense? Does that make sense? That you are so beholden to the custody and the care of animals that you argue with humans, that is a consistent, ongoing problems for months. And does that make sense that this 31-year-old man was so triggered and enraged by animals that he threw his life away? That makes sense? I don't think so. I don't think so. Doesn't make any sense. You can rationalize it all you want, but it makes no sense. I mean, when the case first hit the news, family members was distraught and couldn't even understand it. We as a people, we as human beings have to stop allowing what we believe, what we perceive, what we think others believe of us trigger us into a space where you're committing acts that have consequences at the end of it. Severe consequences. So we see this neighbor right here. in Washington Heights. Allegedly killed a woman, her partner, and an animal because he was triggered. Now we come back to Brooklyn this week, where a father and son was cut down in front of their doorway by an enraged neighbor who then lived on the floor downstairs, who himself lost his life. Fits of rage, fits of anger. And again, when I do my assessments, a lot of the assessment helps me understand how much service, how much services an individual needs. Because people have some very, very disturbing belief systems. Their intake and what the themes surrounding their lives make up. Man, when you get to the layers of it, when you get up under it, a lot of it is a little scary. Because people are running around all wound up and tight based on things that they believe that are very, very, very fickle perceptions and not true facts. And when they triggered, they go off because they don't have the skills. They don't have the strategies to decompress, to catch themselves in a moment. They don't have it. Why do you think anger management is a thing? If it wasn't a thing, they wouldn't tell football players to get it. They wouldn't tell actors to get it. They wouldn't tell politicians to get it. There are people who have anger management sessions every day. There are people who have therapists on call. But of course, they don't tell people at this level that. They don't allow the impoverished to understand and know how to function. They have you disconnected from your emotions, disconnected from rational thinking, because when you are irrational and your emotions are all over the place, you can be easily controlled and swayed into doing something. Easy. It's not hard at all. So when we're looking at these situations and we're talking and using these situations as talking pieces, we have to learn from it. We have to. Because these are people who are paying the ultimate sacrifice for it, right? The man in Flatbush lost his life at the hands of law enforcement. This man here, Mr. Moore, is going to lose his life. He's going to spend the rest of his days in jail. But their victims paid with their life. How do we get around this? First thing we have to do is understand ourselves, right? Knowledge of self. Peace, Almighty, peace of law. How are you? How do you see the math? What is going on? Do you have knowledge of self? What is that? That is something that is real. That's not made up. It's powerful. Once you get into it, do you know yourself? To know yourself is to manifest yourself in a specific action. Now, you don't have to know yourself in Islam per se. You don't have to know yourself in anything that has to do with higher power, spirituality, whether you believe or not. But you have to know who you are and how to function in that knowledge of yourself if you want to make it through. Because there are people who know who you are and know that you don't know who you are, and they use that to their advantage. Now, if we're all in a space where no one knows themselves, that's what we're looking at now. We're living in the space and time where people don't know their triggers. They don't understand what makes them angry. They just know they're angry. They don't understand it, though. See, once you know yourself, then what? Then you have to be wise to that knowledge and then understand. And then everything else moves in mathematical order. Right? So, if I know that I don't like dogs, that dogs are a trigger for me. Why are dogs a trigger for you? Because I've watched them attack others. I've seen them attack me. I've lived through that. That's traumatic for me. I have knowledge of that. So what do? I stay away from it. If I stay away from it, it won't trigger me. It's that simple. So now, how, as a people, do we live in safety? How do we manifest ourselves in all this turmoil? We lived through a pandemic. Some of us have watched civil rights. Some of us lived through the heroin epidemic. Some of us lived through the crack epidemic. Some of us lived through all these different things. Several police lynchings, all these things, wars, drug-addicted family members, abandonment. We lived through a lot of these things. But if we're not in touch with it, we don't know the specifics of what triggers us and what's going to move us into a space where we're not functioning, where we are unhealthy. And then we commit these acts and sit in a space and say, I was mad as hell, I was raged. That shit don't hold up in a court of law. And depending on what you believe, it don't hold up when you got to go meet your maker. You think that you can say that to whoever you believe in? I've never read a book, and I've studied them all, where you could get through the pearly gates talking about, I was mad. Really? No. Don't work like that. Don't work like that. Not at all. But do we have the right? Are we built to be angry and mad? Oh, sure. We do. Right? And then we see in the thumbnail the picture of a brother named Micah Johnson, who, because he was so traumatized coming up, who, because of the information that he received, had thoughts in his mind to act on his rage. And in acting in that rage, handled himself as a soldier, as a comrade for a specific group of people. Some people applauded and saluted. Others condemn it based on where you sit, based on what your lens is. But it was definitely an act of rage that had consequences. We have to understand how these little things spiral out of control. See, when you're angry, and I told many of you this a long time ago, if you've been up under my custody, if you're up under my care, if you are up under my love, you understand that I told you when you're mad, scientifically, mathematically, there are chemicals that go off within your space, but mainly in your brain, that cuts off your ability to be rational, to make clear decisions, which is why any highly impactful job, they teach you to be in control of your emotions or train you to shut your emotions off and just to be a robot. Ever notice how robotic police, law enforcement, and soldiers are? Robotic. There's no rationalizing with them. There's no talking with them because they've trained to cut that, eliminate that off, to just follow orders. Because this is what happens. But when we are at the bottom of society, when we are the laborers, when we are those who are not in control, we are consistently living in a space where we are triggered. And when we're in that space, we go through physical health, mental health problems. You understand that? I want you all to sit in a space and just imagine some things that go on with you and you don't understand, right? Why you may always catch a cold or always sick. Because anger weakens your immune system. Scientific fact. Anger messes with your digestion. Do you know that? That it makes it difficult to digest food? Because the chemicals that you release from being enraged prevents you from digesting properly? Mess up your nervous system? Any system that has to do with you physically, you are not able to function when you're enraged, when you're angry. So now, if you're angry all the time, the majority of the time that you're cognizant and you're woke and you're moving around, you're a mess. And then, since you can't digest, that means you're not eating right, and you may have a little sippy sip or a lot of sip. You may be a gulper. Woo! Okay? Okay? Then you have mental health issues, depression, anxiety. You're moving in a manner in which you are, okay, deemed less than your complete self, which is a human being, less than a man, 3/5 of a man, because they know that through the oppression, through the lynching, through the miseducation, through the poor dieting, they created individuals that are less than what they deem a man, because you're not balanced. And when you're not balanced, you're going to move less than your capable self, which is going to always create spaces where you suffer consequences and grief. And if you're in that type of space, you damn sure can't have a relationship with anybody. So you miss out on love. Woo! Do you understand what I'm saying? Physical health, mental health, social health, behavioral health. So let's go back to the father and son losing their life to an individual who lost a job at transit because he was angry and bothering co-workers. He went to a job where you can consider the fact that they allow people to get beat. He went to the state correctional institution for a job. And you figure, damn, they let them people wild out in there. And he couldn't maintain that. Get fired from state corrections don't fire nobody unless you grip a gate and you humping on the inmates and get caught, or you in there hustling. Other than that, you can act a fool. He got fired from that. Right here. Behavior. Anger, rage. So now this person is in society. He's in the community. He's living amongst people who don't know him. You don't know your neighbors. You see your neighbors. If you're not in the home with them, you don't know them. Shit, you could be in a home with some people and not know them. I know plenty of people that was living in a home with crackheads didn't even know they were smoking until it was too late. I know wives that didn't know their husbands was crackheads until it was too late. I know husbands that didn't know their wives was hoes until it was too late. So imagine you not knowing who your neighbor is, but getting into confrontations consistently. You don't understand your triggers and you up here, they don't know their triggers and understand themselves and they up here. And now look. You get what I'm saying? Do y'all get it? Because again, I sit in this space for Dolo. I have to understand that. I sit in this space. Time is never to be wasted. Time moves. We don't get it back, right? This is why people get salaries. You don't get salaries for the job. You get salaries based on your time, right? Retirement is time. You understand? Time. You don't get it. Hard manual labor is still time-based. 8 hours manual labor. You understand what I'm saying? Time-based. Retirement. He did 25 years on the job. That's time. Retirement. So if I'm here for an hour and I get nothing consistently, you know that I'm doing it for educational purposes, for the love, to make sure that a message and a task is given. Because this is what we're going through on a regular basis. And we're going to go through it more and more because we are not in control of our environment. We are not in control of our conditions. We are not governing ourselves. Therefore, we will continue to live through the symptoms of an oppressed people. And nothing is more prevalent amongst an oppressed people than anger, than rage. And we continue to take out that rage and anger on those who are closest to us because you've been conditioned to be fearful of those who oppress you. So it's only a matter of time when somebody gets stung by your rage, gets stung by your anger. And a lot of times, that's those who love us, those who are in close proximity. I've seen women whoop their kids' ass because they asked for a cookie in the goddamn store, knowing this boy or this girl or these children haven't eaten. know you're not mad at those kids for wanting something that you done gave to them numerous times. Knowing that it's sweet. Knowing that it's a cookie. Knowing that we've been conditioned since we got here to love cookies and cakes. So now that they ask for it, because you mad because of your conditions. You mad, you're angry, you're disturbed because you don't have enough to get them cookies and to get you some rolling paper or to get you some grabber or to get you a condom because True Dude is coming through. You beat the kid. You yell at the kid. The kid had nothing to do with that. But the beliefs up here is the same thing. This dude ain't mad at his wife because she asking him basic questions. Nah. He mad because he's looking around and he might not be able to provide what is needed. He may have got cursed out, right? On a job. So he beats his wife. He may have gotten abused when he was a child and still caught up in that child's mentality. And now he's a big grown-ass man with a little kid's mind and he can't get them things out of his head. And anytime he feels, he puts his hands on her. That's not being in knowledge of yourself. Peace, God. Andre Bonds is in the building. One of my day ones. Salute, King. Salute. What's going on with you? Thank you for joining. You dig? How do neighbor disputes come to a point of which somebody is losing their life? Very deep, very layered, but preventable and avoidable. Very much so. It can be avoided. Can't all of it. But what are the tools? How do you know that you're not that person? How do you know that you're not living with that person? How do you know that you're not working around that person? If you don't understand the basics of what it takes. How? You have no idea. But we're all affected by it. Whether it's in a literal sense or the figurative sense. We all are affected by it. Shit. We living in these conditions. Just us acknowledging and knowing that we are displeased with how our life is governed, let you know that. We're living around monsters. We're watching what's going on. You dig what I'm saying? It affects us. But to what degree? To what degree? Because I've been in this space for a long time. And even in last week, I've seen individuals comment and say, yeah, I felt like that. I got these neighbors that, yo. And again, I'm always looking and saying, oh, you really believe that? You really believe that a noisy neighbor should pay with their life and that you should pay with yours? mean, we in class. Let's talk. Let's talk. Because if not, I could bounce. Because there's work to do. I mean, I definitely have work to do. Be original. Peace, Almighty. You understand what I'm saying? These cases are severe cases of rage, of poor belief systems. Of people really, truly thinking that the ultimate price is the only way that you're going to get the outcome that you feel you deserve. That's off balance, man. That's off balance. This ain't war. Do you understand what I'm saying? This wasn't war. This wasn't money. This wasn't positioning. Nah. A noisy neighbor and disputes over dogs. Again, noisy neighbors dispute over dogs. And again, of course, we have another point where people will sit and discuss Micah Johnson. You did? What you say, Cookie? You had a problem one time? A neighbor? Kept calling you the B word, a black B word. And who did you stop? Your husband or the neighbor? Because as we see in the video, the wife made an attempt. She made a couple of attempts to stop her husband. But again, like I tell you, once you are triggered and you are enraged, I know for me, I'm not that person. I'm not that husband. For years, I had blind rage, right? All I see is my target, right? Something similar to Mr. Jason Paz, right? There's no discussion, no calm, no. Very calm. You're boiling inside. I know what that's like. I've been on that. I've been there. I woke up on a 10 every day. When you go to sleep with firearms on you, you wake up on that type of time. You wake up on that type of time. Trust and believe. When you can just picture yourself giving somebody all that work, a stranger, somebody you don't even know. That's what type of time I was on a regular basis, every day, all day. Every day, all day, I was on that type of time. Salute, Philly in the building. What's going on, Comrade Christopher? You did? I was on that. You can do it. Trust and believe. We raise our children to be on that type of time. Their conditions, their belief systems have them on that type of time. So I know for a fact there's a blind rage. However, when you have your wife, when you have somebody who you claim to love, pulling at you, and they can't bring you out of it, you have a problem. But that problem was known. And that problem was accepted. That behavior was accepted. Okay? It was tolerated. There was an understanding of that type of anger and that type of rage until what? Until it met somebody that's that enraged or on the next level. Because in all reality, the avoidable peace would have been for the family to not engage. Family was in their apartment behind a closed door. And we're never going to victim shame. We're going to be analytical. We're going to analyze the situation and see how beliefs, no matter how strongly or how firmly that you believe in it, can be wrong. Can be wrong. Okay? Because you believe that you could go outside that door, and maybe because it happened before, it was going to have the same results. You might have believed you went out and wolfed, and that was it. So you had a belief system. The family had a belief system. Now, in hindsight, we can say a lot, but this is what people have all day, every day. I see it all day, every single day. I see it. I see it in road rage. I see it in kids. I see it in police. I see it all day. People are a manifestation of their belief systems, and they believe that because they are mad, because they are triggered, that they own violence, that they have a monopoly on violence, that they can determine the outcome. And leaving that apartment, okay? This is where we at with it. And as somebody who's making an attempt to work, making an attempt to heal, making an attempt to get our people out of the displaced anger, never can we get rid of anger. It's a natural emotion. But how we respond to it, we gotta be much better at it. The only way you can do that is to know who you are, know your triggers, and have strategies in play to de-escalate, to think rationally. If not, here are the outcomes. You understand? That's where we at with it. Got Brazil. Well, we don't know if Brazil's in the building, but we do know we have a Brazilian brother in here. Salute to you, Matus. Enrique. Okay? Matias. Right? So how do we deal with that if we don't know it? And again, you can act like you well all you want to. You can act like you know. You can believe that you know. I believe that I knew myself because I was raised in a certain way, because I lived in a certain way. I believed that I knew myself, and in all reality didn't, and caused a lot of pain for a lot of years to a lot of people. Once I learned truly who I was and how to manifest that, I became an asset to my people. I became an asset to myself. And now I'm better equipped on how to deal with my enemy. Because there's a time for the rage. Oh, yeah. There's a time. There's a time. However, if you don't know who you are or what you're doing, there's consequences waiting for you. Consequences. Some severe, some not. And that's where we're at with it right now. We're in a very bad space as a people. As people, period. We're in terrible space. We're using what we say in anger management as the savage mind. The savage mind is an unlearned, uncouth mind. That's what you're using. All day, every day. All day, every day. So again, I got to move. I have to navigate. We're going to close class for now. Again, I can't stress it enough. Book your assessments. Book your sessions. You dig? Never mind what anybody else is doing. What are you doing for you? How are you going to continue to be in this space and be productive? If you run around aimless, and I'm going to tell you right there, I know for a fact that most of you are aimless about who your enemy is. I know that for a fact. So if you walk around aimless and don't know who your enemy is, and aimless to the knowledge of who you are, how you function, and I'm not talking about the 30 books you read on Egyptology and how quick you could break down the Bible and all. That is nothing. I'm talking about you. What makes you tick? Damn all that. That ain't you. That's your interpretation of somebody's information that may not be relevant no more at all. Because goddamn it, guarantee you, I'll give you a quarter and tell you to go out to find a payphone and call me from the payphone, your ass gonna be walking for a long time. I can give you the information on how to use a rotary phone. Now make a call, damn it, from a rotary phone. Let me see you go live from a rotary phone. So your information on a rotary phone ain't gonna cut it. Okay? You can talk about 3,000-4,000 years. You can talk about all that. You ain't live it. What and who are you? Why are you angry? Who whipped your ass for dropping some bread? What tormented you as a young woman? Who didn't hold you? What and who are you? That is the only way you're going to be able to survive this. Knowledge of self and how to apply and manifest that knowledge out into your space healthily, in a healthy way. If not, you're going to crash. Guarantee you will crash. There's something in life that's going to trigger you to the point of making a poor decision. You will crash. So again, as I always say, don't believe in me, believe in my belief in you. You can't say nobody never said it. You can't say nobody told you that they believe in you. I believe in you. But if you don't, again, believe in me, in the interaction, in the service that I'm providing, it is what it is. Seriously. Because we are in dire need of unity, love, and a true end goal. If we don't get those things, it's going to be what it's going to be. Trust and believe that shit. If you don't see it manifesting every day, trust and believe. If you don't see the connections between what's going on now and what we've been going through and going to go through, it is what it is. It's the same people doing the same thing in a different space. The only way we don't become victims of it is if we move differently. So again, I'm out. Gonna move around. Please, for everybody who supported, much appreciation. Classroom assistants, good luck on the holding down of class today. Hold it down. Remember, encourage your classmates to come through. We ain't have more than 80 in the building. All right? So that means that there are specific things going on outside of our control. Trying to limit the classroom. Okay? You out there? All right, we'll see what's going on. I might have to slide through. All right? Now DM you and let you know if I'm in the space. But again, make sure y'all come back to class with all 10 fingers and 10 toes. All right? Get to it. Learn yourself. Learn yourself. Learn, learn, learn.